Overcoming Adversity podcast, where it's all about a transformational growth and having a resilient mindset. Today, we have one of those standout entrepreneurs. She's the owner, she's the founder, and the CEO of Hydra Salon and Nurture Haircare. Her name is Ronda Pope. She's a successful entrepreneur who's had many success in business, but did have her own fair share of adversities, and she's here to tell us about it. I can't wait to get into this episode. Hey, Rhonda, welcome to the Overcoming Adversity podcast. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me, Michael. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Absolutely. It's been a while since we actually connected. We met in Italy, and I heard so much about your products and your business and what you're doing, and I thought it was so fascinating to hear that you're in a space that there could be so much competition, but you find a way to navigate your lane to become successful at it. I want to know, how did you get started in this business?
Well, I always had a passion for hair. That's always been my thing. And I got into doing hair. I had a salon first, and I was doing hair as a little girl. Like my grandmother used to have me do her hair, and I realized my passion, and it just stuck with me. And then when I finally decided to make it a career, I realized that I really wanted to go into making products for women also, so I can help them in their home, especially when it comes to the whole natural thing, because I was just good in hair in general. But when it came to natural hair, that's what made me decide to become a professional, because it was so like freeing to be able to wear your natural texture, especially as a woman of color.
Wow, that's absolutely amazing. For our listeners that's listening, what does it take or in regards to just getting into that space to start creating product? Is it like a hard journey? Is it multiple like red tapes and things like that? What was that like for you?
Well, to start a product, you got to make sure it's something that's different than what's on the market. Like, you want to be able to make people look at, like, why should I get this product versus that product? And then also, I feel like you have to have an expertise behind it. Like,
Mhm.
sometimes some people can get away with just putting something out there and they don't exactly have the expertise behind it. But I felt for me, and I felt for most successful entrepreneur, they usually have some type of skill set behind their products.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. So, growing up, I know that you had some inspiration that led you to this. Can you talk a little bit about what was it like growing up, and what were some people that you may have admired in regards to like getting into the beauty space?
Well, I my grandmother was big in this because I was a little girl. My grandma had very long black silky hair, and she would always roll her hair up at night with these pink rollers. And she used to have it in my grandfather's Crown Royal purple bag. And back then, I didn't know what Crown Royal was. I used to see this bag all the time, and I'm like, oh, well, grandma keep her rollers. And so she would say, "Come here, girl." She was like, "It's time for you to learn how to, roll my hair." And I had no problem with it because, I always loved grandma's hair. I always play in it because, it was just beautiful. And so
Mhm.
she showed me how to roll her hair. And from that point on, I just really, really love messing with the hair. And then I got to the point where I started doing my mom's hair. My mom would show me things with her hair, so I would do my mom's hair. And then I started playing with my hair. And then also, I had a few people in my family that actually would do hair. And I think I had one cousin, he was a hairstylist. I remember watching him do hair. And hair was a big thing in our family because everybody in my family loved hair. And, they had lots of hair. And so I just was always fascinated with it.
Wow, wow, wow. So it sounds like family is also important to you and a key to you as well. Can you talk a little bit about your family and your upbringing, or what was that their inspiration in regards to pushing you and urging you?
Well, my family upbringing, they really had no idea that I would end up doing this.
Wow.
Like, they were just they showed me all types of things. Like, I grew up from a country background. I'm from a little small town Wilson, North Carolina. My grandfather and my
I know where
grandmother
it's
had
at.
a farm. Say what?
I know where Wilson is at.
Do you?
Yeah, I do.
Well, they had a small farm, and like my grandmother, sisters lived across the street. They all lived in this whole neighborhood, and they all go to each other like a garden and pick stuff in the garden. And we used to work in the garden. My grandfather had a tractor, and we were just country folks, and I love it. And I appreciate it. My grandma used to use like natural stuff in her hair. She would also use it like natural, like washing powder, soap. She did all this. So she made all her own stuff. And so I think from those background, like I was just very creative and paying attention to things to see how things work. Like we didn't just go and pick up something. We try to find a way to see, how can I make this work for me? And I caught on to that very easily. My mom kind of fell in the same way. She wouldn't just go out and get things. She just kind of see how things work. So that created curiosity in me.
Mhm.
And when it came to doing hair, since my grandmother had me doing her hair, I started getting curious about the hair. Why do the hair look like this? Why does it do this? And it just made me think that I can go so much further beyond just the typical styling hair. Just look deeper into it. But my family has always been the type where they encourage you to do what makes you happy, but at the same time, make sure you're doing something. you know but I had a good you know family growing up, and yeah, I would say I had what I needed growing up.
Got you. So I also heard that hard work and attention to detail was very keen to you and your success. Can you talk a little bit about how that attributed to you being an entrepreneur?
um if I must go back, okay. Let me go back a little bit. So as a little girl, my mom and my dad got divorced.
Hmm.
And I mean, no shade to my dad, but like my mom was there to raise us by herself. And she had the help of my grandmother and grandfather on my dad's side. So my dad's family was very much involved in our lives.
Wow.
And basically, I saw how she struggled with 3 kids. She did, what she can do. But I also picked up, as being the only girl in the family, I had 2 older brothers. I picked up that this is not going to be me when
Mm.
I get older. I am not going to I'm not going to depend on a man. I know like some men, don't really like that independent woman thing, but I was shown that from my own eyes to not do that. And my grandfather also put in me like, don't depend, you know how old black man is, don't depend on a, what for nothing, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
he always put that in me, and my brothers reiterated that too. So I grew up
Hmm.
around guys and men, and they taught me not to do that. And then I saw firsthand how my mom, struggled with trying to raise 3 kids. And, she was like a homebody, and she was like the homemaker. She cooked, cleaned, did all the domestic stuff that, women do. And the male was the provider. But that taught me early, not me. I'm not gonna do that.
Right.
So when I got to the point where I knew what I wanted to do, and even when I didn't know what I want to do, I knew I had to take care of myself. But when I got to the point where I knew I was really good at something, I
Yeah.
was going to make it work, and I
Mm.
wasn't going to depend on no one like that. Not I didn't want to be in that position that my mother was in.
I
So
got
that's
you.
what really drove my entrepreneurship. I felt like I have to.
So when you got into business and you started your salon and you started this product, was it all smooth sailing, or did you experience any like turbulence along the way in regards to like just the entire entrepreneur journey?
Oh, it was perfect. Okay, no. No, it was not smooth sailing at all. I had to, I kind of went into it just being led by my passion,
Yeah.
but it made me learn real quick about business and dealing with people, because when I opened up my salon, I was just so excited to work, but it got overwhelming. Like I have all these, clients who wanted to come see me, and I needed help. So I thought it'd be easy, like, oh, just hire some people, just hire somebody. And it was great at first, but eventually you start to have problems with that hiring people because you have other people trying to follow something that is your vision and they don't quite do it in the way that you see it. And then when you try to tell them about it, and they don't want to get the constructive criticism from you, that
Right.
can pose a problem, right? And then also dealing with clients sometimes, even though I have mostly really, really great clients, but sometimes you just be surprised that sometimes your clients might not be for you sometimes. And then I had a working with family. Don't do it. Don't do it. It sounded like a great idea. I won't say too much about it. I skirt around it, but it sounded like a great idea to work with family,
Mhm,
even though other family warn you do not do that.
mhm.
But I did it anyway, and it's just not the best thing sometimes because their family, you're a little bit more lenient on them and you're thinking that they would have your best interests in mind. But everybody, when it come down to the dollar or it just come down to just power, like everybody's off limits. I mean, it's everybody's off limits. Like they don't, it don't matter who it is. Like people will, push you over, however you want to say it, screw you over, or however you want to, basically how you want to say it. It doesn't matter at that point.
Right.
So yeah, it's definitely was has not been easy, but I have stayed prayed up and it got better.
I got you. So you said something interesting about business, and listening to your story, it sounds like you didn't go the traditional route in regards to entrepreneurship, in regards to like maybe going to some formal type of education or something like that, or so.
Mm,
You know what I mean? So you was
yeah.
actually working in the business, and you saw that you already had a passion for this, and you were already in it. And you already saw what it was like. So you decided, I'm going to create my own salon and create my own products. Can you talk a little bit about what that was like navigating that as an entrepreneur? As some people may want to go your route as well too.
Right. It was it was difficult, but I was up for the challenge. I would always tell people what made me different than versus getting like a mentor, because I hear a lot of people talk about, get a mentor, work under somebody. I think most people need to.
Yeah.
But what made me different is I knew I had a special talent. I knew it was something different than what other people are doing. Like, who's going to mentor me? If they've never done it before, like, how can you mentor me?
Hmm.
So that's the only time I will say, you might want to kind of do it on your own. Now, where I could have got mentoring at is the business part.
Right.
But if you don't know what to get mentoring in, how can you ask for it? I don't
Right.
know.
Right.
So
Right.
I
Right.
had to figure it out. And looking back at it, it could have been easier had I known, which is why it's good for whoever's watching, to take that in, like just get some mentoring in business. But at the
Hmm.
same time, I'm grateful for the lessons in it because it taught me. Now it was the all around way when I could have just went to somebody and got it real quick, but I did learn like what to do and what not to do, and I survived it, thank God. And now it has made me a lot more sharper when it comes to business.
Got you. So I'm gonna give you the floor right now, man. If you can elaborate, tell us a little bit about both of your business because you have a salon and you have a product line. Can you tell us a little bit about what a customer should be getting about when they're working with you?
Absolutely. So the salon is my first baby. It's like I have two children, or three children. 'Cause I have a I actually have a child, but the two businesses are my other two kids. So the salon, um, my vision with the salon is to service women with naturally kinky curly hair. But when I went into it, I wanted to target the women who didn't know they had curly hair.
Mhm,
Because with me growing up, I had no idea that my hair was this curly at all. I
mhm.
just thought it was kinky, and you know what people say, to call it nappy. I just thought it was just rough. you know?
Right, right, right.
And so for me to be curly now and discover that I was curly, that was like mind blowing. Cause all this time we was told that our hair is not the traditional hair. Nobody, wants our hair. Now I'm thinking way back. If people can think way back, that's what we were told. And so when I discovered that, oh, it's all about how we actually take care of our hair. That's why we're not seeing the real texture in our hair, because we're
Uh-huh.
not taking care of it to cater it. We're trying to style our hair versus actually try to cater to the actual texture that it is. So when
Uh-huh.
I discovered that, that's when I based my salon and what I do in the hair industry off of that. So it's like I had to re-educate women and now men on how to take care of the actual texture. So at Hydra Bar Salon, we focus on water, 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 which is why it's called Hydra Bar for hydration bar.
Right.
So we try to educate women, especially women of color, that you need to put some water in your hair. Because growing up, putting water in your hair was like taboo. Oh no, I'm not getting my hair wet. But
Uh-huh.
now the women know that it's all about the water. And Hydra Bar Salon, we show you how water work in conjunction with bringing out your natural curl pattern and make your natural curl pattern, here to stay and let it thrive. We've had so many women who have accredited us for showing them how to wear their natural texture. And that's something that I'm most proud of, because to see a black woman who's been told for so long that, your hair is not this, your hair is not that, and they can't wear their texture, that makes me proud. So that's what Hydra Bar has contributed to doing. So you're going to learn in Hydra Bar. You're going to be educated. Now, Nurture Hair Care, and Hydra Bar has been open since the same year my son born, 2013. So we've been around since 2013, December 2nd, 2013. Hydra Bar Salon.
Congratulations. Most businesses don't stay open that long, so congratulations.
Thank you. And we just expanded our space. So we just did a little expansion in our space, and hopefully in the future we can open up in other locations. So thank you so much for that. And
Absolutely,
then,
absolutely.
thank you. And then with Nurture, I had to make a product that's an extension of what we do. Now, to be quite honest, I actually wanted the product before the salon. And I'll tell you a funny story about that.
Go ahead.
I was not interested in really opening up a salon until I got put in a position where I had to. So I was
Mm,
working in another salon, and me and the people, we just won't vibe, it won't gelling, right?
right.
And so I gotta go somewhere and to be able to service my clients, because I can't stay here any longer. And so I ended up opening up a salon suite, but I was already thinking about a product before then. But
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't have, the means to get the product. So
Mm-hmm.
once the salon started doing good and jumping, I went back to eventually having a product.
Mm-hmm.
And so I finally launched Nurture Hair Care in 2021 during the pandemic. And that was, well, a little after, well, during 2020, I started working on it, but it actually launched in 2021. And while I was putting it together, it was a rough period in my life where I was actually in the middle of a breakdown of my marriage. Like I was getting ready to go through a divorce. And also it was, COVID, you couldn't go nowhere. And the only thing that I really had to hold on to, because the business was closed too because of COVID,
Right.
was making this product. So I put a lot of thought into making this product and what it can do for the hair, which is
Awesome.
why I ended up naming it Nurture, because it was nurturing for me
Mhm.
during that time to make it, and I wanted to nurture other people who were using it.
Okay, so you said quite a few things that I want to unpack because one of the key things that you said to me that I think is really important. A lot of us wake up every day and go through our routine and take care of our teeth, our hair, and all these other things and stuff like that. But it seems like when someone comes to your salon and is doing business with you, on top of educating them, it seems like now women and men have another level of confidence in regards to themselves and owning themselves, opposed to trying to do other things that they were taught before and stuff like that. Can you talk a little bit about how you feel or how some of your clients have felt when they've actually feel like they could be much more confident and be themselves, their true selves when getting a service from you.
So they feel good in who they are. Even like my stylist, like I handpick, my stylist because I need them to believe the vision also so they can spread it to the clients. So it's more than just coming in to get your hair done. It's coming in to really embrace who you are and what you got going on. Because a lot of times, like, it's we'll have clients that'll come in and they will want a certain look, but we have to talk to them about how they feel about themselves and how they
Yeah.
feel about their own hair. Because your
Mhm.
hair is your hair. What you get is what you get. Sure, we can style it and do other things to it, but that's not really the passion, the meaning behind it. I offer more styles and stuff after a person has really accepted their hair and loved their hair, because the real thrill and the real purpose behind me doing this is for people to love what they have. That's why I did it. That's why I got so into it, because I'm like, wow, I got hair like this, and this is all part of me. Like, I didn't even know I had this. And we bring this out in women and men all the time. They're like so shocked at what they really have. So it basically it's more than just you getting your hair done. It's basically you getting a mind transformation in how you feel about yourself.
Yeah. You mentioned something that I think quite a few people could identify with. COVID hit us really, really hard, right? Something people was not expecting. In addition to that, you mentioned that you were going through a divorce, you're a mom, you're handling a business. That's a
Yeah,
lot.
that's a lot.
That's a lot. Can you talk to our listeners about, if you, it depends how deep you want to go into it, like that particular situation or circumstance, but more so, if you could talk a little bit, how did you manage that? How did you deal with that? How did you get out of that?
It's very hard to manage that. Thank God, and I hope I can kind of keep myself composed. But thank God I did have my mother around to talk to, because when you're going through something like that, you need another person who's going to just listen. Because if it wasn't COVID, I might have could have handled my situation better.
Hmm.
Because COVID, we were shut down. You couldn't leave the house. Nothing was open. And I'm going in the house with, my ex-husband, who, has wants nothing to do with me. Acts like he couldn't stand me, and I didn't understand why. I mean, I wasn't perfect, but I don't understand all that,
Wow.
And my business shut down, so nobody's working. Um, can't go nowhere. I can't go visit friends. I can't go visit family. And I have my child in the house, and he's bored too. He don't know what to do, and he see mom and dad are at odds with each other, and he can see it. And kids are smart, and
Very
so right. So I have no money coming in. I feel no love. I got a child who is, confused, just as confused also. And I'm still trying to play mommy to him. And then at the same time, I'm still trying to keep my business afloat, even though it's shut down, and still trying to build upon it. And it was really the only thing that really kept me sane, because I have that much passion in my business. But also, that's only going to do but so much for you. So having my mother to talk to, and my mom was willing to sit there and listen to me, just talk.
Mhm.
And she wouldn't say anything. And sometimes that's just all you need. And when you don't have that person to talk to, it could drive you crazy. It really can. And I just thank God she was there to be able to listen to me at that time.
I want to add on to that a little bit. I know how deep your faith runs for you. Can you talk a little bit about how your faith and your belief system got you through that circumstance and that situation? And if your mom even played a part of that, let's
Yeah.
talk a little bit about that. How important was that for you?
She did. My mom always instilled God into us growing up as kids. And, like the typical, black mama on Sunday. She played her gospel music and installed, God made us go to church and everything. And as a kid, you don't appreciate it as much. You don't pay attention, like, oh God. But
Mhm.
my mom knew how to turn that around and just really talk into me. And she would keep saying it, during that time. And I really didn't want to hear it sometimes because, like, I was just in my own feelings. But she really poured it into me and sent me things. And of course, I pray too because I still have my faith in God. It's just that at moment life was really kicking my butt
Yeah.
and I needed that person in my ear who would sit there and talk to me, and not just somebody who just say, oh, just pray about it. Like my mom would really actually come in and really give me scriptures, and we'll go over scriptures, and she'll sit there and she'll talk about it, send me stuff, from YouTube, like a Joel Osteen sermon or something. She'll send me and to kind of lift up my spirit. And I prayed and I asked, God for healing and what I should do. Because the biggest thing when it came to my divorce is I really, really prayed about what to do in this situation because I know that God doesn't like divorce and I didn't never want to end in a divorce. But some of the stuff that was going on, it was just breaking like my spirit, breaking my soul.
Mhm.
And I couldn't go on like that. And so I prayed to God and I would ask him, like, what should I do? I know you don't like this, you don't like for me to get divorced. And I really prayed for a sign on what I should do. And I felt one day I got that sign. And that's when I decided that I needed to end my marriage. And I mean, I'm not going to necessarily go into all of that. But the thing is that I got a very clear sign to, you got to get out this marriage or you're going to be gone. And so mentally, that's what I mean, gone mentally. And I decided to, you know filed for divorce, and it was hard afterwards, but looking back at it and being faithful and listening, I realized it's probably one of the best things I could have did for myself mentally, because it was day and night compared to me now. And back then I wouldn't, I might not even be here right now, to be quite honest.
So going through that, and you're just sharing that, it's hard to hear that. What did
Yeah.
you learn? What did you learn about yourself?
I learned that I was very strong mentally. Like I'm I would say I'm the strongest person physically, but mentally I am very, very strong mentally. Um I couldn't understand some of the stuff that was happening to me because I mean, I had went through, it wasn't just that during that time, which I had went through a failed business partnership with a family member, so that was hurtful alone. And
Wow.
then right afterwards, my ex-husband was just just wasn't doing some things that he just wasn't doing things that he should have been doing. And like I said, I'm not perfect, but some things that you do in a marriage that you just shouldn't do in a marriage. It breaks the constitution of the marriage.
Right.
And so I was doing that and I didn't see that coming. And then, which I didn't mention, once I started healing and getting, past all of this, my mother passed away.
Wow. Wow.
So it was a really hard time for me.
I'm so sorry to hear that, Rhonda. Wow.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Hold on. But yeah, so I realized that I'm very mentally strong. And my mom taught me that cuz my mom always tell me, be strong, be strong. And I had no choice but to be strong. And then when she passed away, I had to be strong cuz I didn't have that person that I can talk to. And, believe it or not, it seemed like after her passing away, it's like I almost had a weight lifted off of my shoulder. And what I mean by that is I realized I could conquer anything. Like, no matter what somebody threw at me, like it's not going to phase me. 'Cause I think I've been through some of my worst stuff already. That's worse to me. That's horrible to me. Like, I don't know if everybody has this, but when you have that one person that you can just go to and talk about anything with, and they will not judge you, talk to them about anything, and then you no longer have them anymore, that's a blow. And that
It,
was my mom.
it is. Wow. I'm gonna lighten up the mood a little bit. So I met you, and we when we took a trip to Italy,
Yeah.
and we was out in Italy, and we went for this retreat. I saw you having a great time, like taking selfies, taking pictures, and stuff like that. And it seemed like maybe you were maybe rejoicing
Yeah.
or something of that magnitude, but it seemed like you're in a very, very happy space. Can you talk a little bit about what that trip did for you?
It was really good, and I gotta shout out my friend Tiffany Teachy for inviting me. She has her business STEM business. Sorry, Tiffany, I can't remember the name of it, but I'm gonna shout her out. Tiffany Teachy, STEM lady, STEM her, STEM kids, STEM crew kids. She had that too, but she invited me on the trip, and I was just going for fun, because I was actually I was writing a book too, but I wasn't thinking about it like that. And she was like, come on and go, it's an author retreat, it might be good. And I was like, okay, yeah, I go. I got nothing else going on, I'm gonna go, right? And
Uh-huh.
I went there, and it ended up being a great experience. It was just good to be somewhere else. It was good to just, be free and get to meet like different people. And like I said, I was writing a book myself. I got to learn, from you all experiences, and just, living life, and not really focus on, you know, any issues going on. Cause like I had just went through a whole lot, before. And this is the first time I could just be me. I didn't have to worry about being, anybody. I didn't have to worry about, being mom. I didn't have to worry about, being, committed to anything in relationships. I didn't worry about no work, nothing. I could just be just free. And so it did a lot for me. And I was just happy the whole time, just being in that presence.
Wow, I'm glad. Like I said, I saw you like really, really enjoying it. I want to touch on something since you said that. How important putting things into perspective, right? And looking back at where you've came from and all of the things that you've been through. How important is just balance? I wouldn't say work-life balance, just like balance in life and putting things in perspective and like all of your priorities and stuff like that.
Um, so I still work on that. But with going through all that, I realized that I have to really set boundaries for myself in everything. Set boundaries, with work, set boundaries even with my child, set boundaries with, anybody I come in contact with. So I had to learn to do that better. But I also had to make sure that I was taking care of myself, and then I also had to make sure that I was taking care of my, make sure I was being more intentional with my son, because, he has a different dynamic now. Mom is, by herself, and mom is an entrepreneur, but I know I got to work to keep things going, but I had to make sure that I wasn't overdoing it. And I wanted to make sure that he understood what I was doing, and try to make him part of it. And so, that's how I kind of somewhat keep things balanced, because I know in reality I can't really slow down too much,
Mhm.
but I can at least bring him along with me in a journey and try to find something that he likes within that journey, and just let him just be right there with me. Cause my son is he's so proud, little man. He always telling everybody we meet, like, yeah, my mom has a business and it is Hydra Salon and Nurture Hair Care. He got a whole spiel for this. And
You
I
got
just
the
sit there and
elevator pitch
laugh.
going.
Everybody. And you know what? He enjoys that. So I don't say anything, which is good,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
he enjoys being able to do that. So I just let him, get in where he wants to fit in.
absolutely. So, being a business owner over 10 years now, I
Hmm.
know that you have tons of wisdom. What are some principles that you live by and some strategies that kept you to be so successful for over 10 years?
Well, like you said before, my faith is huge. So a lot of things, if it's in God's hands, to be quite honest, if some things you just can't control, you just have to let it play out. And that's how I think of it. Now, even though I do get stressed out and I be trying to fix it, 'cause I'm a Virgo, and as a Virgo, I be trying to fix things. But I have to also remind myself that some things are just out of my hand. And when you think about it like that and just have faith that, good is going to happen, then it will happen. And also having a positive mindset too. You want to think positive in a situation. I know some things can make you, feel negative about it, but if you try to stay positive, it's almost like you can fake yourself for it to be real. Like you
Hmm.
could fake yourself into good happening. The next thing you know, something good actually do happen.
Hmm.
So you just want to always stay positive and have a little logic in it. A little logic in it. Says the Virgo. You gotta have a little logic.
So you're a woman of resilience from your story. You're a woman that has bounced back from multiple different obstacles. For somebody that's listening right now, what are some key takeaways and some key lessons that you'd like to impart to them?
Well, you got my little list.
Great.
So one of the takeaway is your outlook will control your life. It's all in how you see things. If you see things negatively, you're gonna have a negative outlook. You see it positive, then you're gonna have a positive outlook. So that's one lesson. Another lesson is troubles are temporary. So like my mom used to say, trouble don't last always, right? So if you're going through a rocky moment, which we all are going to go through rocky moments and have been through rocky moments, you just have to remember, look, this is temporary and this is happening to take you to a better place somewhere else. A lot of times I think people get wrapped up in the bad and
Yeah.
they're not thinking about this is happening for a reason. So you have to learn something from it. And so my last lesson I would say is whatever's going on in your life, whether good or bad, what is the lesson I'm supposed to be learning from this? You
Hmm.
have to figure out what is that lesson and hone in on it, because even if I'm sitting back chilling and enjoying things, what is there for me to learn? Am I supposed to be grateful for? Am I supposed to be thinking about what I'm grateful for? What is it? Or if it's bad and I'm really upset, what am I supposed to learn? How can I do better next time? Like, what can I take with me so this won't happen again?
No doubt. In the midst of it all, man, like whenever you're going through journeys and valleys, like there's always a lesson somewhere in there.
It
And
is.
it's so much better on the other side once you actually gone through it, man, through that experience.
Yeah.
So what's next? You've accomplished a good bit. What's next on the bucket list? What's next on your goal list? What's next?
So I'm writing a book. Um, I'm writing a book about a little bit what I talked about today, about my life, my journey, and it might be thinking like, who wants to know about my life? But I'm writing it because it was therapeutic for me, but at the same time, other people can relate because when I was going through the stuff that I was going through, I couldn't find anything that could relate to me. I had to find things that was broken up into bits and pieces. And as I talked to other people, other people have some of the same issues that I had. So I wrote a book to kind of give some hope and basically to try to teach people to be mentally strong, because like we all have our own level of pain, because maybe what I went through, somebody may have went through something worse, or somebody may, or I might see it, someone else went through something like, okay, maybe that's not as bad, but it's bad to them, you know? And the thing is that you just have to learn how to get past those, like your show, adversities. You have to get past that stuff because it's only temporary, but you still got to live life. You still got to run your race. And so this book is really about the different things that I went through, but it also reflects on how I overcame those things and the lessons I learned from it. So it's coming out, hope soon. I'm still trying to add the finishing editings to it. It is called Highly Nurtured. And it's named kind of after my product. And I love the word nurture because, like, it's really about nurturing yourself and nurturing your soul, nurturing your peace, and nurturing who you are because only you and God are going to do that.
No doubt. When the
Right.
book comes out, platforms open for us to do round two.
I would love that.
So, if anybody wanted to book you on their podcast or work with your business or just reach out to you, how can they get a hold of you?
They can reach out to me through my social media at Curly Rhonda, or they can send an email to info at Hydra Bar Salon, or you can send it at Rhonda at Hydra Bar Salon. But either one will work.
Absolutely. Well, Rhonda, thank you so much for coming on the Overcoming Adversity podcast. It's been an absolute pleasure just to hear your story of what you've overcome. It was a lot. I didn't know that we was going to bring you to tears, but
I didn't know either.
but without a doubt, I think that our listeners will truly enjoy this episode because it was real, it was authentic, and you gave lots of information just to help up and coming business owners or women that's maybe struggling with different aspects of life and stuff like that. So I truly appreciate you coming on and sharing your story.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. Guys, before we get out of here, if you like this episode, make sure you leave a comment. Make sure you share with a family or a friend. But until then, God bless.
Can't complain at all. Couple dollars in my pocket, no income and go. Been working on my body, getting healthier. Thank God for clarity.